The Magnification Paradox: Why Survival Functions as Victory for an Asymmetric Power by Ward Ethan Mercer, August 9th, 2026. In the study of modern conflict, the most dangerous strategic trap is assuming your adversary calculates victory using your metrics. When a conventional superpower engages an asymmetric regime, it operates on a standard balance sheet model. Military assets destroyed, factories flattened, command nodes severed, and operational capacity crippled. By these parameters, a campaign that obliterates an enemy's air defense networks, sinks its naval surface fleet, and shatters its missile industrial base is a decisive success. Yet, when the smoke clears, the regime in Tehran does not issue a statement of surrender. Instead, it declares a monumental triumph. This is the Magnification Paradox. An asymmetric regime, heavily crippled in physical hardware and economically isolated, can project an illusion of absolute strategic dominance simply by standing when the firing stops. To understand why Western diplomacy repeatedly fails to tame Tehran, one must understand how the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps converts structural survival into geopolitical leverage. Two divergent theories of victory. The disconnect begins with how both capitals define the win condition. The Western definition: kinetic domination. Victory is achieved through the physical subjugation or neutralization of the adversary's offensive machinery. Success is measured in the target list: how many radar sites were blinded, how many enrichment centrifuges were crushed, and how many logistics hubs were burned. The IRGC definition: asymmetric endurance. Victory is achieved through the preservation of the regime's coercive core and narrative control. The state does not exist to protect the country's infrastructure or economy. The country's infrastructure and economy exist to absorb pain and protect the regime. For an autocratic, ideological apparatus, military asymmetry means conventional loss is inevitable. Therefore, the metrics of success is not maintaining parity on the battlefield, but rather outlasting the political will of the coalition attempting to restrain it. If a superpower uses its maximum kinetic leverage, and the regime's flag still flies over Tehran, the regime has proved it cannot be forcibly eradicated. Survival becomes the ultimate deterrence. The mechanics of projection. How does a power that has lost its conventional air defenses and naval fleet manage to magnify itself in the eyes of the region? It does so by shifting the arena from symmetric military hardware to asymmetric friction points. The mosaic defense. The IRGC was explicitly engineered to survive decapitation strikes. Its decentralized command nodes allow localized units, proxy networks, and militia cells to operate autonomously even when central communications break down. Economic coercion as power projection. Deprived of open sea lanes, Tehran uses cheap, low-tech options, naval mines, short-range attack craft, and proxy drone launches to hold global trade hostage. By threatening shipping through the Strait of Hormuz or enabling Houthi strikes on global energy routes, it forces international markets to price in perpetual instability. The information space. By circulating footage of intact command elements, ongoing proxy launches, and state-backed rallies, the regime shapes the global perception that it absorbed the best a Western coalition had to offer and remains standing. To regional actors, a state that can endure a superpower's full kinetic onslaught and still disrupt global oil transit appears far more formidable than a peaceful, stable nation. The regime's apparent stature is magnified not by what it can build, but by the friction it can generate while bleeding. The delusion of negotiating from strength. This paradox creates a perpetual trap for Western diplomats. When Washington approaches the negotiating table after a major military campaign, it believes it holds all the cards. It points to destroyed factories, ruined airfields, and a cratered economy as proof that Tehran must accept terms. However, Tehran views the table through the lens of endurance. The regime recognizes that Western democracies are constrained by political fatigue, economic risk, election cycles, and limited munition stockpiles. By simply surviving the initial strike and continuing to project localized friction, Tehran turns its physical weakness into political leverage. It enters talks not as a defeated power seeking mercy, but as an unyielding entity establishing the price for its restraint. The reality behind the stature. The magnification of the Iranian regime is a high-wire act. It relies on the assumption that its adversaries will always stop short of total regime eradication. While Tehran projects an image of invincibility to its proxies and the non-Western world, that projection masks a deeply brittle interior, an exhausted economy, a hostile populace, and a shattered military apparatus. Yet as long as Western planners measure victory by hardware destroyed rather than the regime's structural capacity to generate friction, the paradox will endure, and survival will continue to function as victory. Eyes open.